Alright, in the third video, we're going to log into your online, your LMS, Learning Management System, just like Schoology. Schoology is a learning management system, but these are the ones we're going to use for your specific courses. So whether you have a GradPoint, a Connexus, Lincoln, or Peak course, there is the possibility that you're using another course software as well. If you're taking maybe a more fringe course or some of the foreign language courses, but all of them operate pretty similarly. You're going to find a lot of the same information in a lot of the same places. So, for example, my courses that I am enrolled in run by Blackboard or on Blackboard, which is almost identical to Peak. So if I were to click on my course shell or my LMS and then look for the course that I'm currently enrolled in, select that. And then over here on this left-hand bar, this is where I'm going to find probably the most information about what assignments I'm going to have this semester. So for a lot of you, you're going to look at things like probably course materials or syllabus and due dates. Syllabus and due dates, that's going to be a really good place to look. Grades for most of you. As a matter of fact, when I logged into GradPoint, Connexus, Lincoln, and Peak as a student, the gradebook was the best resource across the board. So if you click on My Gradebook, what you'll return are some examples here. And I didn't want to log into student accounts and show grades with their names, but this allows me to show just the gradebook. So in Peak, this is what the gradebook might look like, except yours won't be filled out with actual points scored. In Connexus, it might look more like this. In GradPoint, your gradebook might look like this. And lastly, in Lincoln, it might look something like this. Again, these are all actual examples of gradebooks that were used last year. They should be almost identical to anything that we're doing this year. And so what I want you to do is to find this place in your course where you can see all of the assignments that you're going to be responsible for this semester and start dividing them into 16 roughly equal parts. Now, in GradPoint and I believe Peak, for example, let's see, let's find Peak. GradPoint and Peak had very, very similar type setups here in terms of assignments, and this will kind of help you break it up. For example, in GradPoint here, the courses already split, and it's all chronological. So you can see right here the midterm falls right in the center of the page, the final exams at the end, and we can see we have 8 total units. Now, 8 units split over 16 weeks means that we could spend about 2 weeks per unit on average. So that kind of gives you a quick glance at how to start breaking up a GradPoint course right there. This is one particular course, and yours may not have 8 units, but it kind of gives you a quick idea of I could take this and split that right in half, and then I could split that in half, and then I could split that in half. And look at that, we've got 2 assignments per week. Same thing over here, although they're not sorted in chronological order, we still have the same thing. We have Unit 1 lab questions. We have a Unit 1 quiz. We have Unit 1 discussion questions 1, Unit 1 discussion questions 2, and down here we have Unit 1 text questions. Same thing as over here. We have text questions, lab questions, quiz, and there may be some discussion pieces in there as well. So again, let's see, we have, I see 8 units in Peak for this particular course, so we could divide it up about the same way. This Connexus course, we have, it looks like 21 total lessons in 16 weeks. We might look at what kinds of assignments we have. It looks like we have quizzes mostly, and 2 big portfolio items. And if we look at the weight of those portfolio items, we see it's worth a lot of our grade. Portfolio items together are worth half of your grade. So it's probably reasonable to expect they're going to take a little bit of time. With 21 total assignments over 16 weeks, it means about 1.5 assignments per week, approximately. Maybe we'll consider that these big portfolio items should have their own week. maybe more. We don't know yet, but you can kind of guess. But again, you're going to want to split this into about 16 parts. Lastly, we have Lincoln. Here, this course is divided into 2 units, Unit 1, Lesson 1, Unit 2, Lesson 1, and there's a Unit 1 exam and a Unit 2 exam and a final exam. So 2 items split into 16 weeks, right? We can spend about 8 weeks per unit. So I would count up or maybe add up the points of Unit 1 and try to divide the points maybe or the number of items into 8 and see how many fall and where. Again, paying maybe some attention to some of these point values. This Unit 1 Lesson 2 Applied Assessment, if it's 50 points, there's probably, again, reason to believe that it might take you some time to prepare for it. So once you kind of have an idea of how you're going to divide your course into 16 roughly equal parts, what we're going to want to do is start sliding these things over into your calendar. So one thing, the easiest place maybe to start would be your middle point. You'll see here, it looks like Unit 1 exam is probably the end of, the midpoint of this course. So that's probably going to function right around the midterm. So we might want to put in Unit 1 exam right around our midterm. So if I go to my calendar and I see first semester begins in October, and we'll scroll over, and oops, I'm using the wrong one. I find first semester midterms. I know that somewhere in there I should be taking my Unit 1 exam. So right around here, maybe you could make it a one-day thing, or you're going to leave the week open to work on that, which might be a good idea. You could put in Unit 1 exam. And again, you could make it a one-day occurrence, or you could make it for the whole week. I think I kind of like the idea of looking at it from the week perspective right now. So if we're going to go from October, what was that week? 24th through the 28th. 24 through the 28th, and I'm going to have them go all day, and we'll call that Unit 1 exam. Now I can see that my exam needs to be taken somewhere during that time. Now another thing that I kind of like to do is I like to have calendar things maybe as one color, and like really like tasks or like things that absolutely have to be done, deadlines maybe in a different color. So I'm going to make my exam red so that I can really see that one stands out as separate from anything else about, like, no school or anything else like that. The other thing you might consider doing, like if you have a grad point class, is just finding some sort of like a rhythm, or a peak class for that matter. But since we know we've got about 2 weeks per unit, each unit looks like it has about 3 items. Maybe we want to do text questions and lab questions one week and prepare for the quiz the next. Or maybe we think there's going to be reading, so we'll want to do reading and text questions one week and lab questions and quiz the next. So one way you could do that would be, let's see here, first semester begins here. So let's say by the end of week 1, I want to have completed my reading and Unit 1 text questions. Reading and Unit 1 text questions, and create. And I kind of wanted that to be in red, so I'll edit that. Oops. And now I have, that is my first week's goal. I'm going to do reading and the Unit 1 text questions. The next week I decided I wanted to do lab questions and Unit 1 quiz. So by next week I would put in Unit 1 lab questions and Unit 1 quiz. Now you could just separate these by commas or slashes or anything else that separates them. You don't have to use a list like Unit 1 lab questions and Unit 1 quiz, but you want to have each item listed in there. So however you want to divide them is fine by me, but they should be separated. Every assessment, quiz, or test assignment should be accounted for by the time you are finished. When you get everything aligned, you are ready to move on to the final video.